Hey, hey, Aaron, is that you?
Hey, Carlin, you there?
I'm here. I'm here. You there?
Yeah, I'm there. Hey, you sound pretty perky this episode.
Well, I'm trying to step up my game, my excitement. You know, it's a brand new year.
Is your voice changed too? Yeah, I'm just trying to step up my game.
Hey, yeah, just I step up my game now.
Great. Yeah, I mean it's a new year. It's exciting. I feel like this is a very important episode for James Pod podcast.
You do? Why is it?
I mean it's episode double five. It's we're launching 2014. So this, you know,
Let's go back to that point. You
okay.
and me, this podcast is launching 2014.
Yeah,
There would
we
not be a
are the official launch.
2014 if it weren't for us.
Very true. Yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. Like Ryan Seacrest has got nothing on our lunch. Even though we're this is coming out 7 days after the new year. People are like, no. Let's wait to celebrate until the 7th.
Yeah,
Or the 6th.
the
because,
double O,
anticipation.
the
Yeah,
double
so
O.
yeah. Well, so people would stay up all night the 006th, waiting for the release on the 007th.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So I mean that's my dream.
Well, happy James Bond New Year to you.
Yeah, yeah. And to you as well.
Thank you.
And what movie are we covering again? You Only Live Twice.
We decided we were going to cover You Only Live Twice, but this is the 5th episode. It's
Uh-huh.
5. It's episode
Uh-huh.
number 005. And I don't know, for me,
Double
it
O
seems like
five.
that's a big deal. Like 5 episodes. Like I don't know, 5's a kind of a cool number.
Does
And
it? Does it?
Yeah, don't you think?
I mean, all right. I mean, it's just kind of in the middle of the pack. I mean, in the long run of things, we'll look back. We're like 005. Oh yeah, that was just another episode.
I guess I'm looking at it
Don't you?
as
I mean,
I don't know where this is all going. You know, I know we've talked about lots of different things.
Uh-huh.
There's 23 official Bond films. There's the Never Say Never Again, so that's the 24th one, and maybe we get this show lasts all the way up until there's the 24th film. So we're looking at about 25 of these that we're gonna do, and maybe we do more, and maybe we spin off. We do that Dr. Quinn podcast we're talking about.
Oh, that's happening. And the construction
And
podcast.
the construction podcast happens concurrently with this. That's another podcast we
Right,
do
you're
on
right.
the side. But
Uh-huh.
the thing that I was just thinking, like, okay, there's 25-ish episodes, and 5 in, like we're a fifth of the way there. Like that's
Okay.
I don't know.
So, since it's our 5th episode, in our previous episode where we covered The World's Not Enough, we discussed how there are 4 listeners, yourself
Yes.
and me,
Uh-huh.
and my mother, and Alabama Dog,
Yes.
our third host. I'm thinking there needs to be a 5th.
Well, there is, and I'd like to make an announcement
Oh.
about that. I
okay,
have
okay, please.
I have added to my assistant QK. I've added to her job description that she is to listen to our podcast. So we now have 5 listeners.
Wow. Okay. Do you tie her up and force her to listen to these podcasts? And she says, "Do you expect me to listen?" And you say, "Yeah." Is that what goes on?
I'm not familiar with that reference.
Because we haven't covered that movie yet.
Right.
Right. Right. Oh crap! I watched the wrong
No.
Sean Connery
No.
movie.
Please tell me you didn't.
Oh no, I didn't.
But you know what? Here's the thing. I didn't talk to you about this beforehand, and I probably should have, because we are co-hosts. We are 2 of the 3 co-hosts on this show. And I probably should have cleared this with you and Alabama Dog first, but I thought maybe what I would do is introduce a new segment on our show.
Okay.
You
Okay.
interested in this?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, sure. Let's hear it.
Oh, you seem like maybe you're not interested. What?
No, I'm okay. Let's hear it.
Okay. I think I could assemble a team, a dodgeball team,
No.
out of the characters from the 5 movies we've watched so far that would beat a team that you assembled out of the characters from the 5 movies we watched so far.
Listen, I mean, I could have all characters made of. I mean, all 5 of my members could be Christmas Jones, and I would still beat you.
No, no, no. They have to be different characters. They have to be different characters.
Okay, so is this a challenge? Are you challenging me to pick out a dodgeball team based on the movies we've seen, James Bond movies? So all 5.
I think we're at that point in our show. In our show, we are at a point where it is time for us to pick. It is time for us to pick dodgeball teams.
Okay.
And then I think every show we can revisit. We can look at trading in and out with the new movie we watched, and so this would become a new segment on our show.
All right.
And you know what?
Okay.
I because of who I am, how great of a person I am, me, Carlin Trammell, one of the co-hosts of this show, I'm going to let you pick first.
Whoa, okay. So, I mean, will our audience really care? I mean, will they get to see these teams in action? Like, we're talking real dodgeball here, as if our teams are actually competing against each other.
Yes.
Just to clarify, okay, so we're getting into specifics. Like, if I were on the team,
we're not on the team. We're the coach of the team. We're the
coaches,
coaches of the team. We're not on. You and I are not in. We're not on the floor.
No, I'm coaching my team. Okay. So,
but we're picking a team.
First.
Yes, you can pick first. Now,
all right.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a very good point. Will our listeners ever get to see this? And look, I don't know, but I would like to think.
There's no guarantees on this show.
I would like to think that someone out there listening right now, perhaps a 6th listener, is listening right now, and that person works for a video game developing company. And he or she is listening, and they're like, this would be a great idea for a video game. And this would be bigger than the GoldenEye N64 game. Like, this would become...
That's huge.
This would become huge.
That would change the video game landscape. Okay.
It would. And so,
is there even a dodgeball team or a dodgeball game like that out there? I mean, it's so simple. Like, how can you make a video game just on dodgeball?
I don't know. I'm sure there is. But, I mean, James Bond Dodgeball, the video game? Oh, yes. Sign me up.
Yeah, that... Okay, I'm all for this, and I have my first team member chosen.
Okay. So you're now let's hold on.
Whoa. What?
We are going. So I looked this up. I did.
Are you adding
research.
this to your chart?
I've created a new chart. Actually, I've got 2 index cards. I'm going to fill them out. One for you, one for me.
So you've done research, and I'm just learning about this now. So just so the audience knows, I'm at a disadvantage.
Oh, no, this is research that will benefit both of us.
Can I draft my first choice yet?
No, not yet. I just want to clarify before we go, and then you can. And then,
okay.
I looked it up. A dodgeball team has 6 to 10 players. I say we go for the max. We go for 10 players.
10?
So we have a team. We each have a team of 10 players. So okay.
That seems okay. No, that's fair. I mean, what about for this first time doing like 5 on each team? Just because there's not as many movies. In each movie, we add a member, or each movie until we get to 10, we add a member.
We swap somebody out, or we add a member.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just because we haven't watched many films, right? Yeah. I mean, we've watched 5, and I think maybe 5 members right now is good.
Okay. 5 because it's episode 5.
Fair?
Episode 5.
I mean, yeah. I don't want to take up all listeners' time. They're eagerly waiting to hear You Only Live Twice.
You're right. Very good point. Okay, so go ahead. Your first choice is.
Okay. My first choice is Q.
Okay.
Why?
Desmond Llewellyn.
Because Q. Yeah. Because he can create whatever the heck he wants to create and annihilate your team.
Wait, I don't know
with his gadgets.
Yeah,
he's got the gadgetry. And he's got the genius mindset to defeat your team.
Okay, all right. Q. I put it on your.
I mean that's something we'll have to talk about. One, is James Bond allowed on either of our teams?
Yes, but and I would go as far as to say we have seen at this point in the show 3 different actors portray the role, and I would say that you could have a Sean Connery Bond, you could have a Pierce Brosnan Bond, or a Roger Moore Bond at this point.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, so Q is on your team. Your first choice. On my first choice, I'm going to go with Tiger Tanaka.
Wow. Why is that?
Because he's a ninja, and you'll never be able to find him.
Okay. That's fair enough. I mean, a ninja on your team is a very, very smart choice.
I thought so, yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Since you went Tiger, I mean, I have a second choice. Am I allowed to go ahead with my
Yes,
choice?
your second
Since
choice
you're running
is
this draft,
yes. Please go with your second choice.
my second choice is Baron Samedi from Live and Let Die. Mostly because he never dies, and in the GoldenEye video game, he appears and disappears all the time. So you can never really know where he's going to be
You're right. You're right. That's
any given moment. Baron Samedi
okay.
is my second choice.
Okay. Good choice.
And okay, and do you have a second choice picked out?
I do have a second choice picked out.
Okay.
I am picking from GoldenEye Boris because he's invincible.
I was just thinking of that because he's invincible, and that's the only reason you need. He's invincible.
Exactly right. What other reason could I want
right.
to choose Boris?
All right, I'll choose my third person.
Okay.
I will choose from The World Is Not Enough. I'll choose Renard because he feels no pain. He has no fear of getting hurt or anything. I imagine he would just stand at the front of the line and just like catch every ball, even if it's like a foot away. The no pain villain, it does it for me. He's ruthless.
That's a good pick. I thought about Renard. That's as a possible first or second choice, even because of that very reason. And I thought, well, because he lacks the sense, the feeling, he that might actually put him at a disadvantage. So I could see where that could work against you. But
a disadvantage.
Yeah, because he's not.
No,
because he picks up the ball, but he doesn't really feel it to know exactly the subtleties of how to throw it against the opponents, and
I think he can feel it. He just can't feel pain.
All right, well,
Like that. Like
we'll see. We'll see when we play. We'll get on the court and we'll see what happens.
all right. I'm excited that he's on my team. All right. Let's.
Okay.
I mean, let's. Who's your third pick?
Well, I think my third pick is going to help me against specifically Baron Samedi, but really as a whole, I think this pick will help me against all of your opponents, and that is Solitaire. She'll be able to look into the future and help.
Of course,
predict,
you're picking Solitaire.
Help predict what's going to happen and help us plan our strategy to combat you and your.
Let me tell you, you are the fool, my friend, because I am picking Roger Moore, who will have a deck of cards to defeat Solitaire and to woo over and take away her virginity, thus making her powers useless.
No crossing the line. No crossing the line.
That's funny.
So Roger Moore Bond is your fourth pick.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna choose my fourth player at this point, and I am going to go with Cigar Girl from The World Is Not Enough. This is the girl who I don't think she's got an actual. I looked her up on IMDb. She's credited as Cigar Girl. This is the agent at the beginning. She gives Bond the cigar, but she turns out to be the one who goes on the boat.
Obsessed with her. Okay.
What
Cigar Girl?
What do you mean I'm obsessed with her?
Obsessed. Though I mean, last episode you were talking about she's your favorite Bond girl. I'm like,
I didn't say she's my favorite. She's
she's
one of the best, is what I said. And again,
to quote,
that's what QK's show notes said.
Oh, so you're saying QK is infatuated with Cigar Girl?
Yes.
Okay. So, but just to clarify, QK is not picking your team, right?
No. I don't trust her enough to do that.
All right. But she's in your corner. She's on like your team of coaches, or maybe she's like a water girl or something.
She's holding my clipboard for me and all that.
She's holding your clipboard and your whistle, maybe?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so one more choice, and we have our 5.
Yeah. I have 4. I need one more.
Yes.
This is tough, because, I mean, there's so many characters right now. I can't believe you picked Cigar Girl.
Was she going to be your pick?
No, she's not even like... I don't even think about her. Okay, I'm gonna have to go Xenia from GoldenEye. I mean, can you think of any more intense character than Xenia. I mean,
No,
she
no, that's a
is
great choice.
literally insane. She is insane, and she will demolish everything.
No, you're right. I should have chosen her before Cigar Girl. She was going to be my fifth choice, and I dropped the ball there, so to speak. But no, that's a great choice.
Well, thank you.
I'm
Great
gonna
teammate,
I'm
or
gonna go.
not teammate, just a great player.
Yeah, she's no, she's. I think the problem will be just reining her in. That's going to be your problem as a coach. That's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, between her and Roger Moore will just clash. I just know it right now. They'll just clash.
Yes. Clearly.
So, so you have one more choice.
I have one more choice, and I'm going to go with Quarrel Jr. from Live and Let Die.
Wonderful choice. Why Quarrel? Because he's the only black character in that movie that's not bad.
That's not necessarily the reason.
Okay.
I think well I was thinking about his dad, Quarrel Sr., but then I thought, no, what's gonna happen is you're gonna like put a big picture of a dragon up on your side and he's gonna run away. And I don't want that.
I was thinking of Quarrel Senior too, and if you have Quarrel Junior, if I choose Quarrel Senior, then I think I have an advantage because, of course, this would be next episode if I decide to trade somebody.
Right.
But I think Quarrel Senior would get in Quarrel Junior's head, and as a father figure, Quarrel Junior would have a hard time going after his father. So anyway,
possibly.
Just thinking of strategy for next episode. So just get ready. My dodgeball team will come out victorious.
So you've got Q, Baron Samedi, Renard, Roger Moore Bond, Xenia Onatop. I've got Tiger Tanaka, Boris, Solitaire, Cigar Girl, and Quarrel Jr.
Okay, I just got to say, Boris and Cigar Girl are two of the best picks. I mean, I was thinking about Boris, and just based on him being invincible, I mean, that's great. He's just going to stand in the back with his arms up in the air saying, I'm in...
You'll never be able to hit him because he's invincible.
Yeah, he's invincible.
Combine that with the fact I have a ninja on my team.
If he's like, yeah, that's great. That's great.
Okay. All right. So next episode we'll look at adding a player and doing any trades we want to do at that time. Oh man, I can't wait.
Agreed.
All right. Well, I think it's time to I guess talk about the movie You Only Live Twice.
Yes. So I think I'm turning Japanese. I was listening to that right before we started recording this podcast, and I think that's very appropriate. How did you feel about James Bond's transformation and James Bond getting married?
Honestly, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, like the point of it, because by that point the bad guys already knew he was not dead.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like an extended sequence where it mattered. Like, okay, we're gonna sneak you out on this island. You're gonna play like you're married, and you have to be Japanese. And like, it wasn't like he was sneaking around, or he'd become a part of this town and live there for like 8 months or something. And like he was infiltrating something. It was like a day into it. Like he goes and he gets married, and like the next day he's romping around on a volcano, and they fight the bad guys, and the movie's over. And I'm like, what's the point? What's the point of the?
It came very late in the movie, and he gets on the island. And he's like, I'm done with this. Let's go look for the bad guys. And they made a big deal out of him, like this transformation. It was like awkward. I'm like, what's going on? And yeah, it was. Anyway, that was one of the strangest parts of the movies. And overall,
I haven't
read. You Only Live Twice. I thought yeah, go ahead.
Well, I haven't read the books, and it's something like I kind of want to do. I'll just say, like I have read a little bit of Casino Royale. Like it's one of these things. Like I keep saying, oh, I want to read these books, and I got a stack of old copies of some of these books. So that said, I haven't read them. I really haven't read them. But my understanding is that You Only Live Twice actually comes after On Her Majesty's Secret Service in the book canon, and it's a big deal that he's forced into marrying a girl for this situation because he had just had. I know we haven't talked about this movie, but he had just had the unfortunate incident with his actual bride previously. Where in this case, the two movies are flopped, and it loses its weight.
I I remember that. It's a little strange. And overall, I mean, I've not read the books either. I mean, maybe this is why I can never do well in 007 seen it. Uh, in my weekly game of it. Um, I mean, I like Blofeld as a villain. I think he's obviously one of the most famous. He's been probably the most parodied Bond villain. Because he appears in so many movies and so many books, I think it would be interesting to go see how the books portray him,
Right.
and what makes him different. Um, I do like him in this movie. I do like it. I mean, this movie is very similar to Doctor No in a lot of ways, just because it's for the most part it's kind of a standard spy investigation movie, and then you get to the evil lair, and it's like kind of it takes it up a notch with like space and the trap bridge and the evil villain and all that stuff. And that's I mean that's typical Bond.
Well, it's a little smaller, and again, we haven't talked about the movies in between Doctor No and this one yet, but we have. I think we have addressed this before of like the cycle of Bond movies and how everything's about making the next one bigger and bigger and bigger, and
Yeah.
then they have to kind of scale back. Every so often, they kind of reset.
Yeah.
And this one, while there is a little Nelly and there are some gadgets and there are some things, this one is
Mhm.
not on the same scale as the two previous movies. It scales it back a little.
Yeah, no, there's not these huge explosive scenes or things like that, like we get in Thunderball and
I mean, you get a
other movies.
volcano headquarters. That's big,
Yeah,
but it's not like
and that's
yeah.
that's neat. And okay, so I had no idea before watching this movie this time that Roald Dahl wrote this. The famed author of
Charlie and the
Fantastic
Chocolate
Mr.
Factory.
Fox. Yeah, Charlie and Chocolate Factory and James and Giant Peach and stuff. So it's quite random, I thought. Not that I really saw like his signature on the story, but I do enjoy the plot quite a bit. As far as I'm gonna bring it up again, I'm gonna bring up Skyfall again. As far as him faking his own.
It's time for our segment of our show where we bring up Skyfall.
I mean, the whole beginning of the movie where James Bond dies, and fakes his own death. I thought it was really interesting, and Bond goes through a series of disguises in this film and pretending to be other people, and I always find that to be really fascinating. How is he going to get out of the situation when he's not in control, but he has to act like he's in control? I think that's where Bond shines. So, I mean, for most of this movie, it's that, and it's interesting.
Yeah. When it doesn't really, well, the disguise thing kind of happens here and there, but they never really seem to last as long as it could. It's like he goes in,
Yeah.
for example, he goes into the Osato organization. He meets with Mr. Osato and Mrs. Brandt or Miss Brandt or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And he has a little meeting that takes like 2 minutes. They do the X-ray. He's got a gun. He walks out, and it's like, kill him. I'm like, well, so there's not
Yeah.
like any
Yeah.
chance for that to go anywhere, and that's what I felt about even the marriage, and I felt about some of these things where it's like we set this up, and then it just kind of like doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, when he pretended to be a buyer for Osato, and they could have simply taken him like to the boat, knowing that he was James Bond, and they could have taken him like to Japan, and that girl, whatever her name is, Brandt, could have dropped him off in the airplane like she did. They could have played along with that more, but
Yeah.
it said, like you said, they just said, "Oh, kill him," and then they just ran away after that.
And
So it
even
was
the
a little-
whole Bond being dead thing doesn't seem to really go anywhere. It's like, oh, we killed Bond, and then 20 minutes into the movie, it's like, oh, we knew you were alive, Mr. Bond. Like, what was the point?
Yeah, there were definitely opportunities where there were some cool ideas, and they just didn't like draw it out as much as they could have. And like instead, we get like a 10-minute helicopter chase. It's so funny. Yes, I
It just
I
didn't
love
seem
that
to
helicopter
end.
chase. Yeah, Sean Connery looks like he's bigger than that helicopter. It looks like it's gonna fall apart at any moment.
Well, let's talk
It's
about
so-
let's talk about Sean
so
Connery.
funny.
Let's talk about him for a second because
Okay.
he
okay.
always wore. I guess he always was wearing a hairpiece in these movies, but did it not seem really obvious this time? Did he not look like?
It seemed more obvious. Yes, he
Did-
said he looked like from Doctor No to this movie. It looked like he had aged 20 years.
Yeah, and it looked like he had really, really enjoyed Pi between Thunderball and this one.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe he was just over it. I mean, this wasn't. He came back after refresher course. He did this film, then On Her Majesty's Secret Service. He did not.
This
and then
was his
he
last
came back
film.
and did Diamonds Are Forever.
Right.
I thought Diamonds Are Forever was his last film.
Yes, but I mean, like this. I think in his mind, this was his last film, and then he came back for another one. Like that I think was sort of what's going on here too.
You just got to wonder what's going on in Sean Connery's mind, if he's really into it, if that played into producers not really wanting Sean Connery. But I mean, that being said, I think he still pulls it off better than some of his other movies, when he's obviously much older. I mean, there's just so many random things that happen here. I mean, along with the whole marriage and pretending to be Japanese, the whole ninja. I don't quite get the whole ninja aspect of this movie because the ninjas really aren't utilized at all. I mean, they break into Spectre, and I mean, Bond's already in there, and they. I mean,
with the astronauts.
They just
like Bond and the astronauts.
They just aren't like used, and so it feels like, well, why the heck were we in this like ninja camp for all this time? And I don't know. It was a little disappointing. I just wanted more ninjas. Like, if there's going to be a Bond movie with ninjas, have there be a Bond movie with ninjas.
Yes. Yeah. This movie would be...
The only real ninja part is when the assassination attempt on a key.
Yes. This movie is one of those, I think there's some of the Bond movies that would benefit from a remake. And I think this is one of those. I think there's a lot of great ideas here, and I think if they were to ever... say, let's redo this one or a couple others I have in mind, that it would benefit. I think that you take this as a starting point and you redo it, and I think you could explain some things. And
as long as the remake had a dodgeball scene with all previous, maybe in jail or something, where all the characters have dodgeball teams.
Yes.
I mean, yes, yeah. I think a remake of this movie would be very interesting. And I don't know if you saw the movie Gravity. It came out a few months ago. I
was going to ask you about that.
I did see it. The beginning of this movie, I'd forgotten how this movie started. So when I was watching this, I'm like, oh, that astronaut's just floating up into space.
Gravity completely stole its plot from this movie.
I was like, holy smokes, they took this from You Only Live Twice. No, I mean, I just imagine. I can't think of Gravity now, and I love that movie, and I can't imagine it now. I kind of just want to not watch the first 10 minutes of Gravity and just assume that the rest of the movie takes place after the beginning of You Only Live Twice. Like that.
There should be some sort of fan supercut where they do that.
Yeah. I mean, they totally could just cut from that last shot of, the astronaut floating off into space and just cut right into Gravity. and then have everything else after that make like zero sense.
Well, every so often you'd cut back to what's going on Earth.
Yeah, that's right. Meanwhile, James Bond is, and then cut back to like Blofeld trying to shoot off this other rocket and back into Gravity. Like, oh, like crap, we got another rocket coming our way. It's totally. I'm doing that. I'm doing that.
Please do that. Well, so let's not count Sandra Bullock as one of the Bond girls of this movie, but let's talk about the girls because we do that every time. And we have, I'd say three. We have three in this movie. We have Aki, we have Helga Brandt, and we have Kissy. What do you think about the gals?
I mean, I really couldn't care less about Helga. But I actually liked Aki quite a bit. Like I felt like it was obvious that Bond was very attracted to Aki, and Aki was, kind of an agent herself. And I was sad to see her die.
Yeah.
And then after her death, I mean, I don't even remember. Did Bond like really mourn her death or
not at all
care about it?
No.
Yeah, it was strange because he was excited. Like when he's told that he's gonna have to marry or put on a front that he's a married man, he looks to Aki, and they're like, yes, finally. And then when he's told like, no, 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 it's gonna be somebody else, they're all disappointed. So I was, excited that he got to be with the key or whatever. But I don't know. Do you agree?
I agree. It seemed weird that she died and he never really seemed to care all that much after that point. It was just more about, and this kind of was very Roger Moore esque, actually, that it was a little creepy. It was a little like, okay, uh, well, and the whole overtone, and we didn't even really get into this, but the whole
Yeah.
overtone of like in Japan, men come first and women serve, and he's got they've got the four girls
Yeah.
bathing them and all that stuff. And I get there's a culture, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
but I guess kind of like what we're saying with Live and Let Die, it in my modern eyes, I'm like, no, this is a little odd.
Yeah, would that fly nowadays? Like, yeah, no, I agree. When that scene came on, it seems a bit out of touch.
Yeah, and it's almost
And I
there's
know that's
yeah.
Japanese culture is very different than ours, and it's very nothing against their culture or anything. And I just looking at it from an American modern day man, it seems very strange. And you're right, it does seem very Roger Moore-esque and creepy, um, which is what I like about Sean Connery is that he never really does seem that creepy, except for at times like that.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then I think it's time to put our
Is it
vote.
time? Is it time to do our little chart?
It's time to
So
add to our chart. So I have the card here, the little. Do you hear that?
if you're I do hear that. Is that QK fanning you?
No, no. QK just handed me the card. Thank you, QK. And
Oh, oh.
I'm just
Well,
because this is an audio podcast. We haven't broached this.
isn't she writing this down for you?
No,
Shouldn't she be taking notes?
no. I should have her do it, but no, I do it myself. This is important enough that I do it myself.
That's nice of you. Yeah.
You only live twice. I'm adding that to the fifth row. And there's three other columns. There's three columns where we each decide if we're going to put this in the top tier, the middle tier, or the bottom tier of movies. Aaron's got a column, I've got a column, and then we have a final column we'll get to in just a second. Aaron, where does this fall for you?
This is a tough one because when you think about, oh, would I put this top, middle, or bottom, you got to kind of think about all the Bond movies. And my instinct after just watching this movie says to put it in the middle. It obviously has its flaws, as we've talked about, but there are enough enjoyable, like just pure Bond elements to the story that I enjoyed the majority of this movie. So I would say middle. And I'm just asking you, I mean, are we reserving the right to come back and edit your card?
Well, we had
For
two
example,
last
I
week
put
because
World's
I
Not
already
Enough.
have a red mark
I'm,
where I had to
no,
cross something out.
I'm saying if I fill up my middle column, am I allowed to like? Okay, I'm replacing The World Is Not Enough with whatever movie we're
What is this, dodgeball? No,
do I,
this is your final answer. So you're saying middle on this?
yeah.
All right,
Okay,
I'm putting
middle.
down an N.
No, I'm reserving the right to come back and edit and shuffle them around. But right now, it's in the middle.
Okay, I've written it down. Don't change your answer this time. I'm
No
gonna,
way.
no,
I'm gonna put it
no.
in the top. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
late.
gonna go with. This is like you said, it's tough. It's for me. It's the bottom part of the middle or the top part of the bottom.
I agree. I agree. It's tough. I'd put it in the lower part of my middle if I could, but you have to choose.
I know what I'm going to choose. And I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose bottom. I'm going to choose bottom.
Bottom. You're bottom heavy right now.
I am actually.
But you only live twice. You have Live and Let Die, and you have The World Is Not Enough.
All three of those in the bottom.
You've had 3 of our 5 movies in the bottom. Is it because you're just like hoping these Bond movies get a lot better?
No. I'm going to go middle. I haven't written it down yet. I'm going to go
Oh,
middle. I'm gonna go middle.
somebody's editing.
No, I haven't written it down yet. I'm going middle. I'm putting it in. It's now on the card. Was there a boat makeout scene at the end of this movie?
Yes, there was.
Okay, that's the final column. All right.
The boat makeout scene actually capped off the good movie because that happened. Like, oh great, Carlin could put another little tally mark in that part of his card because there's another end boat scene. So So Live and Let Die isn't hanging out there by itself.
No, it was Doctor No. Live and Let Die ended with a train makeout scene. Well, it ended with a
That's right.
train.
Yeah, I apologize. The Doctor
Doctor
No
No had the
makeout
boat
scene.
because I'm keeping track. If you had a
Yeah,
card,
yeah.
if you had a card, you would know this, but you're not filling out a
And
card.
that's why you have QK. So QK can take care of these things.
That's right. Okay, well, that's going to do it for You Only Live Twice, episode 005. We're going to do this again, and next time on the show, we're going to do which movie, Aaron?
We are going to do The Living Daylights.
That's right.
The Living Daylights. So we gotta throw Timothy Dalton a bone here,
It's time. It's time to do that.
and it's time. I mean, yeah, it's time. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good 006 episode. So look forward to that on February 007th, and watch The Living Daylights.
All right. On behalf of Alabama Dog and Aaron Nix
And my mom.
and QK, thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later, Carl.
Okay.